Hi guys, welcome to the show. We're back after I think it was about a few days, a week since we had the last show. But welcome to AnimeInkArt live talks where we talk with different creators in the community about their journey in content creation, how we can support each other better in the community. So today's Friday. It's finally Friday, it's finally the weekend. So a great time to have an amazing show. So definitely let's get some people in here and then let's get it started and introduce our wonderful guests. So let's just make sure we just send it to a few more people and then just share that we're going live on the Instagram socials. There we go. And yeah, so today we have very special guest, Malcolm Mcfadden, which they are the creator of 615 Comics, an amazing indie comic book, publishing company that makes amazing series, geared towards the community. They also have a podcast called You a Nerd, and that's where they do a lot of their content creation. They support other indie comic book creators, whether it's doing reviews on their comics, showing love to their Kickstarters, promoting their Kickstarters, and having them on their podcast as well. So definitely let's give them a warm welcome and let's get started. Hello.
Hey, what's good, everybody? How y'all doing?
Good. How are you? How was your week? How was your Friday?
My week, my week has kind of been a little chaotic, but I'm alive, so that's good. That's good. Friday is also a little chaotic, but I'm alive once again, so it's good.
No, I definitely feel that. It's like there's only so many hours in a day, right?
Yes, right.
But again, it was a pleasure to meet you in person at BlurCon and then afterwards have you on the show, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was dope. Like I said, seeing you at BlurCon, and it's cool that that we connected at BlurCon and could continue to connect afterwards via like social media and stuff. So that's actually pretty dope.
Yeah, of course. And like you said, we do have a lot of mutual followers and people that we support and stuff like that. It's really cool to just check to see how big but small the community is. It's really cool.
Exactly. Because I think I said when I met you, you looked familiar, like I had seen you before. Yeah. So I think I had saw you out of some of our mutual friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we're a big fan and friends, and we've worked and helped promote stuff from Midnight Comics, so probably from Midnight Comics as well. So
yep.
So definitely for the people that don't know who you are, introduce yourself and what you do.
Well, for the people that don't know me, I'm Malcolm Mcfadden, creator of 615 Comics. I'm a comic creator from Annapolis, Maryland, and I created this comic book company centered around Black characters. I just wanted to tell dope stories centered around characters that look like us and add a little bit of representation in the comics. I have a couple series out. I have a connected universe and of characters, and plus I have characters outside of that universe too. But I have a bunch of stuff really aimed at everybody, mix of mystery, vigilante, powers, stuff like X-Men, action comics. I have a little bit for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And it was amazing just searching the website, just searching different things, very multifaceted. You're a writer, hip hop artist, audio engineer. But I wanted to let you share how you came up with the name 615 Comics, because it's kind of personal to you. As I heard the story about your friend and how they had their house number 615. So I wanted you to share that story because I know it's it kind of how I read it. It was it reminded you of why you create and to continue creating, and that's why you named the company.
Exactly. So I had a friend, his address was 615. We always called it 615. His address, and then we used to go over there, have a bunch of fun, do a bunch of things we probably should not have been doing. Plus creating music and just creating overall. Would just be doing anything creative over there. And he actually committed suicide. So to keep the memory of his house alive. And also one tidbit that I don't think I've said in interviews is that one of my other friends, when we used to be in a rap group together, and our first mixtape together, we called it 615 after his house, because that's where we was creating and stuff. But our friend whose house it was, he committed suicide. And so to kind of keep the memory and to keep the positive memories of his house and of the friendships that we built there, because there's friends that I've met there that I'm still friends with and probably will be friends with till I die. So it's kind of keeping the memory of that alive and the creativity of that space alive. And Also, it kind of I also use it to I do like events where I also work with mental health awareness. So
Hmm.
adds on to that too, to kind of work with mental health awareness, and I also part of a nonprofit to help people that deal with mental what do you want, disabilities, or mental why am I forgetting the word for it, but that deal with like suicidal thoughts and just
Yeah.
have problems mentally, so it a lot of things spawned from that. So I like to keep the energy of that alive.
I think that's a beautiful thing, and I like how like you use your experiences in the positive way to give stories that like people can relate to, because a lot of your stories are like relatable, like even if it's like set in fiction, I feel like people can really resonate with the stories. And I wanted to ask, before we talk about all of the things in 615 comics, I wanted to ask, because you have You a Nerd and you have the podcast,
Mhm.
and what inspired that brand in general for you to share your love of like comics, getting more into the indie world, supporting other people? Like, what started like You a Nerd? Because when I saw the YouTube channel, before you even called it You a Nerd podcast, you had like a commentary with, different creators, and you were doing like more reviews back then, and you were like reading different comics. So what inspired you to like share that love with the world before you even started the comic book company?
Well, just a little fun fact. I called it the reason why it's titled Yo a Nerd is because like from where I am, Maryland, we use yo a lot. So so we in Maryland, so like there was like I remember one time I was like reading a comic book around a bunch of people I think I hoop with, and they was like, "Bro, yo a nerd. He over here reading comic books." So that's where the name came from. And
Yeah.
the inspiration spawned from, it was started during the pandemic. I had a lot of time on my hands, and not a lot of the people I know personally are like really deep into comic books like I am. So
Mhm.
it's not always people to talk to about them. You feel me? So
Mhm.
so I started the channel to talk about comics and kind of talk to other people about comics and kind of just to nerd out to people, that will understand what I'm talking about. You feel me? So that kind of started that, and then it went into at first it was really like DC and Marvel, but more so I started getting to like black indie comics, and it came to like supporting black indies and talking about them, which that spawned to like having people on my podcast like this and just like talking to them, kind of like you are with me right now. So
Mhm.
it kind of made like it's kind of started a whole life of its own and kind of spawned it from there.
Yeah, definitely. And like you've got to interact with a lot of amazing people in the community, and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask, you were doing that, and then you decided like, okay, in the past few years you're like, okay, I'm going to create my own stories, my own comics, get it out there. What was that push for you to start?
The push for me to start was really a couple of things. It was kind of a two-part thing. One was the fact that I saw a very lack of representation from the industry, from the comic book industry that I was into, like especially like reading DC and Marvel. I saw a very lack of black comics being released and put out there. Which all of us as a community have seen. So that was one thing, and also seeing other creators. Like I said, I was reading other creators' books and seeing what they were doing. And I always had these ideas, and I always even had some stuff written out. But I never put a foot forward to do it. And when I saw other creators doing it, I really started looking up how to create a comic, how much money it would cost to create a comic, and stuff like that. And I was like, I could do this. I could really do this. I see other creators doing it. I think I could do this and actually be good at it. So that's when I just put that foot forward, leaped, and I've been creating comics since, and don't think I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, we have some supporters coming in. Thank you, Quay, for coming into the chat.
What's up, Clay?
And yeah, I wanted to ask, what were some lessons you learned along the way when you started the company? Because I know doing it is not easy, especially trying to like get certain titles out, like just getting the first book out, figure out like what you're gonna do, how you're gonna promote it. So, what was some of those lessons you learned in that first year or so doing 615 comic?
Ooh, that's a great question, but a very easy question. Patience, 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 patience. Because I'm very much of a do it myself. If I can do it myself, I'm going to do it myself. But
Mm-hmm.
with comic books, I can't do it myself. I can write the stories, but I can't draw. If I did draw my comics, nobody will buy them. So like I can't draw my comics, so I need. And with comics, what I learned was that you have to. There's a person to ink it. There's a person to color it. There are people that can do both, but that's kind of hard to find. There's a person that does the lettering. You feel me? So there's a bunch of steps that comics have to go through that you have to wait for, and it takes patience because these artists have lives like I they
Mhm.
probably have families like I do. You feel me? They have jobs like I do. So like you got to learn patience. You got to learn that things aren't immediate. Nothing is immediate in comics. Only thing
Yeah,
that's immediate is you writing the story. Like if I was just to sit here and write and it would be
yeah,
now, okay, it's there. But everything else isn't immediate. So patience is the overall thing that I learned jumping into comics. The first thing I learned and that I am still learning.
yeah. That's definitely true. And I definitely wanted to get into like for people that don't know about the stories because you have quite a few, and I want to like
Mhm.
get into like the basic gist of them. So the first one, especially because it caught my attention when I was like learning more about like the stuff that you have out, was a Vora Lee, a new breed, and I. I love like the premise of the story, and then particularly how it related to like your personal experiences. Like just from the name, from your name, because it's like based on your family and like your daughter, and like
Well,
dealing
not my daughter, but would be my
would
daughter.
be your daughter's yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty much like like you dealing with your own things when it comes to mental health. So I wanted you to talk about that comic first, and what inspired it, and like what the main like story is about.
Well, I'm actually glad you asked that. I love talking about Avora Lee. That was actually my very first story that I put out, and that is my story about Avora. Just to go into the basics of the story before I get into like inspirations, it's about my character Avora Lee, who is the first of a new breed in humans. Like they've been trying to create a new breed of humans, faster, stronger, live longer, stuff like that. And she's actually the first of the new breed of humans, and they kidnapped her parents because her parents know how to create her. So they kidnapped her parents, and she's using her powers to get her parents back. Now, the inspiration for that story, in that story, like you said, her name comes from a mix of my grandma's name, my wife's grandma's name. My grandma's name was Avor, and my wife's grandma's name was Lee. So we kind of mixed those names together and said, like, if we ever had a daughter, we ended up having a son, but if we ever had a daughter, that was one of the names that we have lined up. So that was really dope to add to her story, but also with Avora Lee, a lot of inspirations came from my personal life. Like in the story, she deals with like controlling her emotions as well as her powers because they affect her powers. And me growing up, I had to deal with a lot of anger management. I had to go to classes and therapy and stuff like that when I was younger. So I kind of threw that in there and kind of threw a power twist on it to kind of show like people learning to control their anger and their powers at the same time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh,
And
oh, sorry. Just to throw another tidbit in there.
yeah, yeah, of course.
He is very much inspired by my favorite Star Wars character, Ahsoka Tano.
Yes.
So when you see her arms, you see like the stripe of on her arms where it's like pink and white. That stripe is like an ode to Ahsoka's hair or whatever her horns or whatever that Ahsoka has attached to her head. Like kind of the pattern that's on her hair is the same pattern on Avoidley's sleeves. So that was another inspiration.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm glad you brought that tidbit up because I remember reading that as well. And definitely we have another supporter here.
Hey, what's up, DeAndre? Hey, how's it going? Oh, the Kings of Maine 2 is fire. Thank you, bro. I'm so glad that you got a chance to read it and you got it. Thank you, bro.
Definitely. And also the next story that I want to talk about is actually the King's Domain. So definitely for
First
people that
time.
don't know what the story is about.
So the King's Domain is actually I just released it on Kickstarter, the second issue. It's actually dope. Avora Lee and the King's Domain are my first two series to reach issue number 2, which is a feat I'm very proud of. But the King's Domain is about my character Amari King, aka what's good? What's good, Midnight Comics? How you doing? But sorry, I get distracted
You're
very
good.
quick. But the King's Domain is about my character Amari King, aka Mahis. He is a protector of animals and a fighter for the innocent, and he's using his powers and resources to bring down this organization that profit off of animal cruelty. Right, so that story kind of follows him and his adventures going up against them. It's a real. I want you to think of it like how Zorro or the character the Phantom, how they're like mass vigilantes, but it's more like adventure than more than like an inner city vigilante type of story. So it's more so along the lines of that, and it's actually, like I said, just released on Kickstarter. People are actually receiving their books this week. Shouts to the post office because it's getting people their books quick, so that's dope. But yeah, just actually issue 2 just released, and everybody's getting that now. So that's dope. And actually, thank you, DeAndre, for supporting. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. And definitely that I well, first off, I'll talk about the rest of the stories for them to know the gist, but like the art is amazing. I just want to say that first before you get into anything.
Yes, shout out to my art team on it. Shout out to my art team. They are phenomenal. They do every art team I work with is great. So I'm very blessed to have like dope art teams that bring my ideas to life the way they do.
Yeah, definitely. And the next one that I wanted to talk about was the legacy.
Okay, so the legacy actually is my personal favorite series. This series is the most me in a series, where actually the main character is basically me. Not basically, it is me at a younger age. So the
Mm.
legacy is a series. It's about a father and son, who have these powers passed down from generation to generation to generation. The son is like, Dad, we need to actually do something with these powers, do some good with them. We just chilling on them. Let's do something. The dad's like, no, we need to, stay low key and, stay out of the way because, we could bring unwanted attention to ourselves, stuff like that. And the son's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna become a vigilante, and he must hide it from his dad. And so this series is very important to me. It's actually dedicated to my dad, who actually passed. And so it's dedicated to him. Me and him actually didn't have like the best of relationships at the start of my life, but thank you, Midnight Comics. Thank you. Y'all tell amazing stories too. But me and my dad didn't have the best of relationships at the start of my life. So like,
Mhm.
but when I got older, we actually had a very amazing relationship before he passed, a relationship that I cherish. And I always kind of thought like, I love this relationship I had, but it would have been dope to have him throughout my life. And kind of this book was kind of playing to that. Like if my dad was actually there throughout my
Mm.
life, and it kind of was playing to that. Some of the conversations I have in the book were kind of like used some of the conversations me and him had that I kind of transferred to like that age frame.
Mhm.
It was actually, it's a lot of me in the book. It was actually the very first book I ever started writing. Like I
Mhm.
actually put the ideas down on paper. So it's very special to me. It's a really dope book. I love it. It's probably the book that's easiest for me to sell at cons. Like at BlurCon, it was selling like that, but I
Yeah.
think it was selling like that because a lot of us have daddy issues. But that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, the legacy is my personal favorite series.
No, that was hilarious. Yes, no, I definitely understand.
Yeah, I told my wife that. I told her I was like, bro, I think I'm really selling this series because a lot of us have daddy issues.
Because I understand where you're coming from with that. I mean, first off, it's most likely because of the art, and then when they look into it, the story. But like, I get it. Sometimes it's like when we feel like, okay, it's really resonating because maybe we have the trauma for it. But nah, I feel like it's more than that. It's more than that.
It definitely might be the artwork and the storyline too. It definitely might be that too.
And the next one is Subject Zero.
Yes, so Subject Zero is my action comic. As you can tell, I put a lot of thought into my other series and put a lot of myself into them. This series, thank you. Oh, Shay has a very dope
Yes.
Kickstarter. Actually, Midnight and Shay both have a dope
Yep.
Kickstarter out right now. That people need to check out too. So definitely check them out. They're in the comments. Definitely check them out. But sorry,
No.
ADHD. Um, Subject Zero. Um, Subject Zero. Like I said, I put a lot of thought into a lot of my other series. All my other series. Where Subject Zero, I really wanted to write something that was straightforward action, in your face action. So I still ended up putting a lot of thought into it. So, but Subject Zero is about my character. He's like a one man suicide squad. They send him
Mm.
in to leave no survivors, but he also has like a mysterious and dark past. And in this series, you will kind of figure out what he is, and it has like a bigger as it has bigger connotations to my whole universe. Like he has something to do with very secret storyline that happens throughout my universe. So
Yeah.
which I said I tried not to put a lot of thought into it and still did. I wanted to make just a straightforward action series and still put a lot of thought into it, but it's still straightforward action, and I'm very excited because the first arc is only 3 issues,
Hmm.
and that will be available at the by the end of this year. Actually, I have actually some announcements to make on that later on that are actually very important. But yeah, that series will be fully that arc will be fully complete by the end of this year. It's my first series where the first arc will be fully complete. So I'm actually very excited for that.
That's awesome. And I definitely wanted to talk about Brack Soul, aka Black Storm, because like how you had an inspiration of like with Black Lightning, and then what if it was like a god level superhero. So I definitely wanted you to talk about that story.
So yeah, Braxo is my story. It's very different from what I actually like as a comic book writer and fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really. I like capes. I like capes and like big time, super powerful heroes, like
Yeah.
god type heroes and stuff like that. But for the most part, I really do like vigilantes, down to earth heroes, people that aren't that super powerful. So it was kind of me taking a step out of myself to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that series about my character Braxos, he's an alien god from another planet, and his planet was destroyed and he couldn't save his planet. And so while he was mourning his planet, he felt like a disturbance deep into the galaxy, the
Mm-hmm.
same that kind of took his planet. So he flew to it, which was Earth, and he's here on Earth trying to protect us from the same fate that took his world. And the inspiration I took from that was, like you said, like Black Lightning, if he was kind of like on like a god level, but also one of the biggest inspiration was also Thor. Thor had a issue. Thor had a series called the God Butcher, and it was basically this villain who was going around just butchering gods, and it was like he was going to different realms and planets and killing gods on those planets, and I was like, bro. Like that is actually a dope idea. Like we on our here on Earth, we worship, like God, Jesus, Buddha, whatever you want to, all the different religions. What about gods on other planets? What about those? You feel me? Like what if there was a planet where like superheroes were the gods? So I kind of took that and ran with it, and kind of brought it to like Earth. That series, it's a complicated series for me because, like I said, it's outside of my normal realm of things. So yeah, it's a very complicated series, but it's a series I've written nonetheless. So yeah.
And definitely M Shy is loving the stories behind the books. I feel like it gets people into this, like it gets people into it, especially if they didn't know about it before. So I like given especially when like indie publishing company has a lot of different books, like just for them to talk about it, because sometimes people are like, oh, what do you have, and then I feel like it helps a lot.
It does. It definitely does. It like for me too, like as a fan, well, as a creator, I do know that it like people relate to it, right? Like I told, like the joke I made about the dad issues in my book, but that's actually real. And also, like for me as a fan, like hearing other people talk about their books and like why they did the things they do, like Wiseacre Comics, I'm a huge fan of
Mm,
them, and then Fred actually got to talk to him about it a little bit. Like he talked about like how when his mother had passed, like he started like writing down these ideas that he had, and that was kind of inspiration for him to keep going. And that made me like really like, yeah, I really want to read these books and see what you came out with because of that. And like his books are great. You feel me? So like that relating to him brought me in as a fan, but his stories kept me. So that's why I like some of these interviews. I get long winded at times, but I try to give people the story of why I
yeah.
wrote this, even if it's personal. Like this, to be honest with you, the when people ask me about why I named my company 615 Comics, I really hate that question because I
Mm,
really have to. It's emotional as hell. So sometimes I gotta hold back tears and shit like that. So it
yeah,
gets
I'm sorry about
no, no,
that.
it's the question that needs to be asked because people. It's like I named it 615 Comics. People are gonna ask why did you name it that? You get what I'm saying? But it does help people to relate to me, even if I don't really want to divulge the information sometimes. But it does help people relate and understand the stories and understand where I'm coming from with the stories. So even though sometimes I like to keep these things to the heart, it does help to for people to understand it.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Definitely
Yeah.
understand.
And don't feel bad for asking the question. Don't feel bad. It's the question I get asked all the time, and I'm always prepared to answer it. But it's just, yeah, it kind of tugs at the heartstrings a little bit.
No, yeah, of course, especially because it's somebody that's no longer here that's part of the
Yeah.
story. So it definitely makes sense. And I wanted to talk about, because we're going to be talking about the Kickstarter right afterwards, but theme of the Queen of War.
Yeah, so this one is also me stepping out of something that I normally do, but this is more so into step me and things I still like. With the capes, I kind of sort of like the big time superheroes, but this is more fantasy. This is more gods, monsters. This is more magic, and I still love that too. So, theme of the Queen of War is about my character Thema, who was blessed by the gods with incredible abilities, and she was with a purpose to lead the king's people through what seemed to be an endless war, and she was sent to a different world during this war, and then she was sent to a world full of monsters, and then she returned back to our world, but these monsters came with her, and so she's trying to find her footing in this new world and also fighting these monsters. And just and for backstory, like I've been given, kind of
Mhm.
inspiration was this, of course, was Wonder Woman, Xenon, the Warrior Princess, and more of the inspiration, which I probably should have added this to my Kickstarter, which I might afterwards. But more of the inspiration was the fish out of water type of story
Hmm.
is really with me jumping into making comics.
Yeah.
Trying to find my footing in the making comics because it was a big pivot. It was a big pivot. I was creatively making music and stuff like that before
Mhm.
this, and
Yeah.
so when I pivoted, it kind of was a big jump.
Mm.
So it kind of some of the things in the story are with what kind of things I felt jumping into making comics like a fish out of water. But
Yeah.
this series is action packed. It's got magic. It got gods. I'm telling you, Thema. It looks beautiful. Thema was a character when I created her. I wanted her to like look beautiful, but I wanted her to still be strong. Like I
Mm.
wanted her to look like, I don't know if you watch wrestling, but like a Bianca Belair or like a
Yeah.
Jade. Yeah, like those are beautiful, magnificent women, and they strong as hell. Like they abs is goals. Like I'm ready to print out a poster of the abs and put it next to my treadmill. Like, they are goals. You feel me? So like I wanted my this character still be strong yet beautiful.
Mm.
Because that was what I'm a big fan of with like Wonder Woman and Xenon. Like there's these very beautiful characters, but they're still strong at the same time. And I feel like, we that was one thing I really wanted to see more of, especially with a black female character. Like I wanted that to be seen more.
Mhm.
And also in this book is a very beautiful book. Like the art team that did it did a great job with the skin tone in the book, man. I love it. The skin is skinning. I don't know if that makes sense, but it is great. It is great. So yeah, yeah, Theme of the Queen of War, which is out on Kickstarter right now. I love it. It's one of my best looking books, and yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry I started rambling, but yeah, yeah,
No, you're fine. You're fine. Like I said, it's about what you got going on. So I'm enjoying the ride. Don't you worry.
right. You are hearing what my wife hears on a daily basis. So,
And I think the last one is Hellhawk.
yes, Hellhawk is my vigilante series. It's about my character Hellhawk. So he returned. Hellhawk has been missing from Helltron City for 20 years. He's disappeared, been gone, and now he's back and more violent than ever. And the city is wondering why he's back, especially now with the city being overrun by like costume criminals, a bunch of violence, gang violence. People are going missing, so they're wondering why he's coming back, adding to all of this. So it's a very action-packed series, blood, guts, spitting ass, like bloody, very 90s image
Mm-hmm.
type. So that is my series, Hellhawk. Um, it's that one is if you're like Daredevil, if you like Batman, if you like Moon Knight, if you like those type of series, this is definitely a series that you will like.
Yeah, what you just said right there, yeah, that's definitely interesting. And also, before I talk about the Kickstarter stuff, because you have not only Demon the Queen of War, but then the other Kickstarters for the other series as well. And then I know that two of the books are part of the part of the one that I just mentioned, the Theme of the Queen of War, that's
Mhm.
also available in that Kickstarter. But I think what's really cool that you're doing is on par with you always supporting different indie comic book creators, and like whether it's promoting their Kickstarters or when it comes out, like you share it on your page or you have them on the show to talk about it. I saw that you have an indie verse calendar now, so it's like when people want to know about like Comic Cons or podcast releases, Kickstarter launches, you have the calendar for that. And I wanted to ask, What inspired you to do that? Because that's something that I think is really cool to do. First off.
Well, what inspired that was a lot of conversations with like people like Midnight Comics and other conversations I've seen in the indie realm about just like visibility or knowing when Kickstarters are releasing or knowing people are putting stuff out there. And I'm big on supporting us. It's
Mhm.
supporting us. I feel like if one of us win, we all could win. I'm not about the crabs in the barrels type stuff. So I really want I really wanted to like help. One of the things, like I said before I was even a creator, I was already supporting indie. So I really wanted to help with visibility, trying to get people visible. So I kind of approached Midnight Comics actually with this idea, and they were all for it, and they kind of helped me, like bring it to life and help me promote it.
Mhm.
And so the inspiration was really just to help us be seen and help people know about where we're going, and to be if somewhere we can put like, okay, we can on these like Facebook page and stuff. I always see people like, hey, I don't know about indies. I don't know this. Like anybody could just post a link to this and be like, hey, you don't know about indies? Bam, this is a calendar of when indie stuff is happening, whether it be cons, podcasts, releases. It really was about book releases, but everything seemed to like go with that too. So that was the inspiration for it, and it was really just about visibility, because I think that is what we suffer from the most. We suffer from visibility. A lot of us aren't like the ones to come on podcasts or make a bunch of videos. Like some of us are real introverts. Some of us really just want to
Yeah.
create and then not do nothing else but just create. So like that was another way for us to kind of help other people in the scene, help the community out as a whole. So it really was just about helping us.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And because like before I saw that you had it there, the only people that I knew that were doing that is Midnight Comics and Indie Breakdown, and when they were doing that whole project. So it's great to see because I've heard of I've had those conversations with other creators, and they're just like, because it's really sad when you don't find out about certain Kickstarters because it wasn't pushed, or not everybody has the experience. Like it's really hard, and like unless you have the right guidance, it's nerve-wracking even for the people that have done it multiple times and have gotten it funded. Every time they press you know create Kickstarter, like it never gets any easier. Like I'm sure Midnight Comics can tell you, especially with their Kickstarter right now for the 5 year. I mean, it's stressful. So it's like,
It's very stressful. It's very stressful, and like trying to promote it too. And that is an easy step. And it's something I could easily do. It's like a lot of the things that we have ideas for to help out the community. They're like grand ideas that are kind of hard and sometimes take years. The calendar was something very easy I can do. I looked it up. I literally made it. It took me a little bit to make it, but it didn't take me like days to make it. It took me like hours.
mm,
So to put it all together. So it's something very easily I could do. There's still a lot of ideas that I'm talking about with creators that creators are talking about to kind of help us. But like I said, it was something easy we could do, and it's something easy for everybody else to be able to do. It doesn't take nobody money just to send me their information, and I just put it into the calendar. We're not charging anybody anything. It's something very easy for creators to do, and it's a promotion that you don't have to think about. You get what I'm saying? So like you said, Kickstarters are stressful. Like think about all the promotions, coming on podcasts, making posts. That is one thing that you really don't have to worry about. You kind of just send it, and then I'll put in information, and it's there for people to see.
yeah, definitely. And I definitely wanted to talk about the Kickstarter for, Thelma the Queen of War. And because you have a lot of, well, congratulations on, it getting funded, and now you have the stretch goals. That's amazing. And for those that may be interested in the Kickstarter, let us know all about like the reward tiers and what to expect, because I know there's the King's Domain. They can get issues 1 and 2, and the Evora as well. So definitely share, what people need to know about the Kickstarter, because you definitely, like, one thing I'm gonna ask after this is like, you definitely been promoting like that. Nobody can say that you have not been promoting, but yeah, definitely talk about it with people.
Yeah. So speaking of promoting, I'm trying to think of a way to like if ask this like an easy way without going fully ADHD on how to tell people about this. So I've been practicing a little bit. So here we go. Okay. So theme of the Queen of War, like I told you about the story, is really my step into like fantasy genre of things and outside of superheroes. So with this story, I really wanted to make the Kickstarter really match the story and make it like as beautiful and show people how beautiful it is, especially with the covers and everything. So with the rewards, I also wanted to also shine light on some of the other series I have, and also with it being Women's History Month, I'm not really a big, be honest, I'm not really a big month person, whether it be Black History or whatever history month. I'm not really a month type person, but not saying they're bad, but I'm not really a month type
Yeah.
person. But this Women's History Month actually just gave me an excuse to show love to Avora Lee, who's a character I don't need really an excuse to show love to, but it actually gave me an excuse to kind of show these characters together and kind of package them together. So and also just to know to like to be more representation in comics too for people that want like women heroes and stuff like that. So it gave me a chance to package these characters up and show these two series and then give it out to people. And also, since I just had a Kickstarter that just ran, I added the King's Domain
Yeah.
to them because I have extras from my Kickstarter. So I added those to this, just to people that may have missed that Kickstarter. But overall, the Kickstarter is really about Thema, and I added those in to just for people that missed those other ones. But for Thema, with the Kickstarter, I really wanted to show people what it was about. I wanted to show people the fact that I'm using animals of African mythology, because when I did a real deep dive into like different things in African mythology, because all our lives we've really been pushed Greek mythology. I don't know why we've been pushed Greek mythology so much. It is dope, but like we're never actually pushed African mythology or African stories. So when I started going into gods, I definitely went into like creatures and monsters, because they have like different like vampire type monsters too. But I went into those and I wanted to add those to this story because I definitely wanted a theme of fighting monsters. So I definitely wanted to add African mythology to it. So that was fun to add to it. So I added also showed that on the Kickstarter. There's a lot of elements to this story that were just cool things that I wanted to add to, like I said, the warrior woman, monsters, gods and stuff like that. And so this Kickstarter, it's very different. And a lot of stuff was very different than what I normally put out. So yeah, this one is and it's of course it got funded. So shout out to our supporters. And I definitely just butchered the thing I had practiced, but
It's okay. You're doing a good job. Keep going. You go.
it's okay. I was thinking about it like this. I was like, okay, that's not what I practice. But that's normally what happens when I practice something. I normally butcher it anyway.
I'm sorry.
So, but yeah, that the Kickstarter Theme of Queen Awards right now, it's out right now. I still got like I think 26 or 27 days to push it. We fully reached our goal, and now I have a stretch goal for extra poster for all the physical backers. So I'm definitely excited and definitely excited for the next stressful 20 something days to push this campaign. And I really mean that too. I really mean
I
excited
know.
for these stressful days.
No, I know, because it's just like I gotta get people to just support the support, man, please.
Right. And also you got to try to one thing I want to try to get people to support without sounding like I'm begging for your money, because I'm not begging for your money. I want your money, of course, but what I want is for people that are actually interested in the story to read it. I want people to see themselves in these stories, to relate to these stories. Like I want people to actually like the books and support the books,
Yeah.
So like I never want it to feel like I'm begging for your money or your support. I just want to show you something that I think you'll like, and if you like it, I want you to back it. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really want to push, and that's one thing with this Kickstarter I really wanted to go into, to kind of, especially with my wording with the videos I post and stuff like that, to kind of word it to where I'm not begging you for your money. I'm not trying to I'm not like one of those people at a kiosk stand in the mall that just stops you like, hey, come over here and smell this. Come over here and smell this. Like, no, I really want you to enjoy these books like I enjoy comics. I want you to experience these books like I experience comics. So I want you to support this Kickstarter because you want to support it and because you believe in it. So that's one thing I'm trying to do with this Kickstarter campaign, is kind of change my wording to make it sound more like that.
No, yeah, I definitely understand, because I've been helping. Well, we helped Midnight Comics when they had their interns create stories so that it can get published, and then now for the 5-year omnibus. And even with me, just because I said I will help out, it's a fine line between like making sure they're interested, and then over time, me being just like, listen, we need this book. And they can tell you because like if you've seen the videos that I posted, because I've seen Kickstarters get supported in minutes. We need this, guys. Like
Mhm.
I'm not playing with you.
Right. And that, like you said, that's like a thin line because it's like, yeah, you're saying like, yeah, support this because this is great and believe in it. But at the same time, you don't want to seem like, you're begging people at the same time. But you still want to push it out there, to people. Because I mean, if you don't push it out there, they're not gonna see it. You feel me?
Thank you. Because they know like the last two videos, but because it's just before, like, just side note, because they always support everybody in the community, so they
They
like
do.
they need us right now because this is a big goal, like it's bigger than all the other stuff they've done. That's why I'm so like that's the
Yeah.
reason.
And it should be celebrated. Like I was telling them, bro, like that's 5 years of which y'all have done accumulated into a thing. And like us as a community, I think we definitely like we should support them just because of that. But also it's dope. They are yeah, you are the truth. Hey, I see think Navi, I'd seen them before, like some of my
Maybe Monto.
yeah, I've seen them like my post before. Shouts to you for supporting too. But what I was saying about Midnight Comics, I think like for them, we definitely support them because they're 5 years in celebration, but also they actually put out dope content, like dope books, and like they also support the community. So like they're also dope and should be supported. So I definitely understand that and helping them push that because that is dope. 5 years, that's very inspirational. That's very inspirational, especially me as a creator. That and to have an omnibus, have a big ass book. Like that is wild. Not a there's not many indie creators that can say they have an omnibus. So I hope to one day be like, yeah, I got an omnibus. What's up, Midnight Comics? You feel me?
And what's cool about your like just 615 comments in general, because like you have like an idea of how you want the stories to go and creating your own universe.
Mhm.
So from what I've seen is that like you already have the main universe, and the universe has like rules, which I thought was pretty interesting. And also there's specific series that you want to cross over, but they're gonna stand alone for now. And then you even have like the outer verse, which is like outside of the main one, but it's like almost like a multiverse. Can you share that a little bit? Like what came in? How did you do it? Like that's pretty cool. Like because I know for some people they have like the multiverse, but the fact that you have rules, like you really did plan that out.
Yeah, so that actually spawned from I'm a big fan of DC and Marvel, and I'm a real big fan of Valiant Comics universe, and that's kind of what I modeled my universe after, because with Valiant Comics a lot of the characters are very different. Landscape and change. And this, yep, thank you. Yeah, exactly. But with Valiant Comics, they have a bunch of characters who could never cross over, and that would be cool, but when they do, it's dope. So I kind of wanted to make a universe like that. And so I had my universe. I kind of wanted to not do all the big time superheroes in my universe, like gods and like people of really real crazy powers like Superman and stuff like that. So when I created my universe, that's kind of the rules I had for it, and then kind of creating that out and doing that. But with me being a creative, of course, I'm not going to want to live in those rules all the time. I'm not going to want to write in those rules. All right, Navy, we can get together. We can get Navy, hit me up. But I didn't want to live in those rules all the time. I didn't want to just make superhero content. So I write a lot of stories. I have horror stories written, some ones I need to finish. I have stories outside of genre heroes that I still want to tell. And I don't want everything to be lumped up into my 615 universe and live by those rules. So that's kind of why I started doing these other comics outside of that. Now, to be honest, there wasn't really a plan to do anything outside of 615 universe at first, but I was kind of blessed with some opportunities to do
Yeah.
it, and kind of I'm very impulsive at times and don't think things all the way through. And luckily, it worked out in my favor. But yeah, so that's kind of how the Outerverse started. Like Thema and Braxol are two stories that I really should not have started creating and put it out, but I did, and so
Yeah.
yeah, so they're here. But the thing is, that but that is kind of how that came about, just with me not wanting to. I had this whole idea for the universe, but I didn't want to live inside that universe all the time. And
Yeah.
plus, also all those stories, I have very long arcs, long storylines for those, and then some of these other storylines are very short. Like Thema, I only planned for 6 issues, and Braxo only planned for 5. So like I only planned for like a little bit, and there's stuff at the end just in case I want to expand on that I leave in there, but they're really made just to end. Whereas my 615 universe is made to go on as long and until I die or can't keep writing anymore, or until nobody else wants to write the stories after me. So until and goes on till then. So
Listen, listen. Don't fix it if it's not broken.
right, right. It could have been broken though. It could have been broken. Hey Navy,
You
yeah,
see, there you go. There you go. You got connections. I mean, honestly, Navy is the OG. He was the OG before anybody called me the OG. So please go on the show. Please go on the show. You will not regret it. You will not regret it.
Yeah, I've seen the name. I've seen the name. I don't know if like he's liked some of my stuff, or she, or they, if they like some of my stuff, or not. But I think I've seen that name before. So if you have liked some of my posts, thank you. If you haven't, you should like some of my posts. but we'll contact each other on wherever I can find you.
So a lot of us, Navy, Room Full of Blurs, Midnight
Mhm.
Comics, like in Sinners when they say, are you brothers now? Because like, that's pretty much we're like a family here. So yeah, you've probably seen a lot of us.
Yeah, yeah. See, it just familiar names and faces. Yeah, like I told Midnight Comics. So I told him when I saw them at BlurCon, I was like, "Yo, I feel like we friends," and he was like, "We are friends," and I was like, "True, true, true." It's just different when you meet people, when you have these conversations online and you get to know people online, because it's definitely weird, because especially from the generation I'm from, we kind of you meet people outside, you talk to people face to face, and so I've accumulated all these relationships and friendships with people online, and like gotten to know people, and it's kind of different, it's kind of weird, and then once you meet people and you still continue those relationships, I think that's pretty dope, where I can see these people offline, and it kind of doesn't really feel like a difference. You get what I'm saying? It kind of just feels like we continued that conversation. So that's actually pretty dope. And the shouts to social media for being good for at least one thing.
True. And definitely, I wanted to ask, how has it been, doing the podcast and just interacting with other indie comic creators? Because you really make a grand effort not only on your podcast, but like you've been on other people's podcasts that talk about indie comics and other creators that have their own comics. You've collabed with a lot of people. Like, how has it been, being able to interact with all these indie comic people that make indie comics or support it, compared to like growing up before you even decided to write comics?
Oh, it has been great. It has been great. I really feel bad for some creators that have bad experience when they get into like the indie comic book scene. I've talked to creators that do, and I really feel bad for them, because I've had a very blessed experience coming into the indie comic book scene. And maybe it's just because from the people I've met coming into the scene,
Yeah.
but it's been a great experience meeting and talking to these people, because like I told you, a lot of my friends aren't too deep into comics, and my friends especially don't create comics. So it's not really people I can talk to that are like-minded, that go through the same stuff that I do. Like, but us joking about how Kickstarters are stressful and promoting them, like I can tell my friends about that, but I can't laugh with them and them actually like understand what I'm talking about, and kind of have that where we resonate with each other. So that has been great. And then also, like, I've been a fan. I was a fan before I was a creator, so it's really nice to talk to people that I'm a fan of, and to talk to them about their creative process and how they did it, and like their thoughts behind it, and it inspires me. One of the biggest selfish things that I do is about being in the community is that these people inspire me. Like, these people inspire me to keep going, and then to inspire me to keep creating, and they light the fire inside of me. So that's one of the things that it's very, that's one of the selfish reasons why I keep interacting with everybody, because y'all not that cool for real. It's like it's like no, I'm playing, but yeah, it's everybody has been, everybody's warming, everybody is real cool, and willing to share resources, willing to give advice, willing to help each other out, and that's what I've needed coming into comics. just advice, and people help me out. Like Wiseacre Comics. Wiseacre Comics gave me so much advice without me asking at
Mm,
all. Just hit me in my DMs like bam bam, you might this might help you, bam bam, this that and the third. And then
mm,
that was dope. That was dope. Then that helped, and that helped me to continue going. So it's been great interacting with everybody. Like this conversation I'm having with you, it's fun. It's it's great to have.
yeah.
So it's like and you get to meet great people. Like it's you get to meet people that you wouldn't possibly normally like. If I wasn't creating comics, what is the chances that I would have met you? What is the chances I would meet Wiseacre or Midnight
Mm.
or just talk to different people? So it actually is it's a very dope experience. And yeah, there's a long way to answer to say that was very it's a very dope experience. But yeah.
No, yeah, of course. And there's actually a question I usually ask on the show is about like, support in the blurred community slash black community. And I ask, what do we do well so far to do like, support each other, uplift each other? What can we do better in the community to continue to do that? Because I know everybody has a different answer to the question based on their own experience.
Well, what we do well, I think it sucks because even what I think we do well at, I don't think we do well enough. I think we
Mhm.
do a well enough job of supporting each other, but I don't think we do it well enough. You get what I'm saying? So like I think we definitely do a good job, but I think we could do more. And I guess it really depends on what that more looks like and how it can be. I think for a lot of us creators is how can we support each other? How can we get to reach a bigger audience when all of us as individual are still trying to reach that bigger audience? Um,
Mhm.
so it's a very it's a and it's a lot of conversations going on about it right now. Of course, you've seen with stuff like supporting indies, with the whole
Mhm.
milestone stuff that just happened with like
Yeah.
Nike and their lack of black heroes and stuff like that. I think it's a very tough conversation, and it's a conversation that we're having a lot of. So hopefully, it's not going to become as tough. But I think it's just kind of at the point where what we do well, we can do better. You get what I'm saying? But the answer for me, or where the answer is how can we do better? What is the smarter, not harder way to work, or
Mhm.
the both way to work, and how we can reach more people? So I think in these conversations, I think that's what we need to figure out is how we can support each other better. What is the best metric? What is the best way? Can we go through this? How can we do it so it's where all we all can win? And there's a lot of conversations. I just was in a forum with. I just was. There was this town hall kind of meeting that I missed that I had to watch later. But
Yeah.
about Blur Station. And I don't know if you heard of Blur Station. You probably
Yeah.
heard of Blur Station.
Mhm.
Blur Station about uh working on that and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
If that is something we need. Like I've talked with Midnight Comics about the calendar and stuff like that. So it's like it's a very big question. We kind of all need to form like a Megazord, all get together, all the Power Rangers together, and try to like sit in the room or something and figure it out. And then also what I see a lot of there's corners. There's different corners
Mm.
like social media and like
Mm. Mhm.
content creators. Like there's different corners that are here, and
Mhm.
that maybe it's possibly somehow bringing us all together in a way.
Mm.
Uh,
Mhm.
it's a big conversation. I just think we need to put all of our heads into one big ass head and like kind of talk it out and figure it out. Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
hard to do too. So yes, I don't think I really answered your question. I think
I I think if I could sum it up, right, it's mostly like we have to have more conversations. Like we have to talk about the stuff that's hard to talk about, even if we don't agree with each other. I think that's what we
yeah,
don't. That's what we're trying. But
we are.
like you said, there's different parts. So there's different groups that are talking. They may not want to come together yet because they don't know if like their goal, like what they're saying is what the other side is saying. And like even like outside of indie comics or just in the content creator space, from what I've seen, in the nicest way possible, people have different rules and requirements of what they think is acceptable in the community, and then that's where the other issue. I'm not even gonna bring up any of the things I've seen because but because I just observed. But I'm just saying there's like rules for cosplay and rules for this and rules for that, and people forget that everybody create for different reasons, and sometimes the opinions go way left and they don't acknowledge the other side that may not have the same goals that they have, and then somehow it's a clash, and just and then just like a dissertation of what they said, and that's what's going on right now. So it's like, yeah, like you said, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, and I think we, like you said, we need more conversations, but I think those conversations need to be more there's a better word than what I'm just like focused. There's a
Yeah.
better word that's like a tip of my tongue that I can't think of right now, but more focused, like so it comes to like a point, like focused conversations, because sometimes I feel like our conversations get turned left
Yeah.
and like turn right, and
Mhm.
depending on how those conversations are packaged,
Yeah.
like that also, like it could be a very good conversation, but depending on where it's coming from and how that person said it, it could be misconstrued to where the actual conversation isn't had. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Yeah.
kind of like when you yell at somebody something, but you're really feeling it, and they be like, you
Yeah.
yelled at me, and they forget what you actually said. You get what I'm saying? So I think we need to have more honed in was not the word, but that is a very good word. That is a very good word. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, we need to have more conversations that's more focused, honed, and like where we can actually come where it actually comes to something. We have a lot of conversations, but it seems to where the conversations meet a dead end and
Mhm.
nothing is actually resolved or nothing is
Yeah.
actually done. So
Mhm.
and I guess that, and what sucks about it is we can say that, I can literally say that easy as hell, but that is hard to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
So that's what sucks about it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it just helps. I'm only one person, but I asked the question because I feel like, I think when I started the show, it was just a lot of people had different opinions on things, and I was just like, I'm gonna talk about it. I don't like going live by myself, but if I talk about it with somebody else, it will
Yeah.
help. It will help. So, and I wanted to talk about your experiences promoting your stories, through different conventions. Like, how has that experience been? So that's the first part of the question. How has it been, since you started doing conventions and the impact you felt? And the reason why I asked is because I meant to go back to this question.
For theme, I love in comments. Are you coming to Metro Motor City Comic Con? What is that? Hold on, let me see. Motor City Comic Con 2006. Where is this at? So I don't have plans right now to be at Motor City Comic Con. I'm looking at her May.
Mm,
That might,
that might be a little difficult.
yeah. Especially, I doesn't really say where it is, but
Hmm.
I won't be. I probably won't be at this. But to answer your questions about cons and events, it's been a great experience. I think I'm a person who really it does very well with face to face contact. I think I do very well selling with face to face contact, interacting with people. So for me, cons is always good for me because I don't mind talking to people. Even though it can be my social media does run out, but like it can, but I definitely can talk to people and interact with people and tell people on the story. So I love
Hmm.
cons. I love those experiences. I get to meet people like you, talk to people like I talked to you. BlurCon was great. There were people there that, man, I talked to some interesting people. I shouted out some on my Instagram.
Yeah.
There was this one girl that was from Philly.
Hmm.
She was really dope. She actually came back to my table and then bought something else. She was really dope. She was actually in the African American Museum. I hope she enjoyed that because it was the first time going. She was in DC, but
Hmm.
she was dope. There was this another girl. This other girl bought my book day one, read it, came back, got me to sign it. She was like, I really resonated with the story and loved it.
Yeah.
There were people there was this one guy that, like, I could go on days for how bad they were there. But yeah, cons are always great. I do a lot of social media promoting, a lot of me talking into a camera.
Yeah.
So it's always great when I can actually talk to actual people, and especially face to face. Like I said, I'm from the generation where face to face was what what we mainly relied on. So not saying I'm super old, but like but, but still face to face is what I rely on. So cons are a great experience. I love cons. I'm actually my next con is Annapolis Comic Con where I'm from.
Okay.
I'm definitely trying to go to more cons. So Motor City Comic Con is on my radar now. Thank you so much for adding that in here because I have a list of cons that I'm trying to go to next year.
Mhm.
So I will definitely add this to the list.
Okay, definitely, and I'm glad you had a great experience at BlurCon. I mean, like, I did see the video too when you talked about like your experience and like how helpful it was for you and everything like that. So I'm glad you had a great time.
It was great, man. I know you were there too, so you probably saw it, but it was just us,
Yeah.
culture nerds, bro. It was great, bro. It's probably the most half naked people I seen in a hotel at one time. It was great. It was great.
I always go because a lot of the people that's been on the show have go to BlurCon a lot,
Mhm.
so it's kind of like a family reunion sometimes. Like
Yeah.
even this year, there's people that I didn't think would come to BlurCon, but they came and I got to meet them for the first time, so it was really fun.
Yeah, I got to see people that I know from around here that I didn't even think was going to go to BlurCon. You feel me? And so I got to see them. One of my man's Brandon McCoofy, he came out to BlurCon. He always goes to my, so I knew I would see him there. But yeah, I saw a lot of people because I'm BlurCon is in DC, so I'm from the DMV, so I'm around here. So I saw people there that I didn't expect to see there, so that was dope. It was BlurCon was fire, bro. I want to go back. I want to go back so bad. I'm mad I had to leave.
And also, I wanted to ask about like some you've done like a few collabs with different indie creators for like where you guys stories like cross over. So I want you to talk about some of those. 'Cause I know you promoted one of them. I just can't remember the name right now. Where
Beer
you
and
Yes, and I just want you to talk about it. 'Cause I think it's really cool. Like you've like how you've been able to do that because I know that's like the goal for a lot of creators. It's like for their stories to cross and their be able to do cool projects with each other.
Yeah. So that one actually, that one was the idea. Page Dollars. He's the owner of Page One Comics. He actually approached me and Tony Control of Advent Comics, who they also put out a lot of dope work too. Both of those creators do, and he approached us, said, "Hey, we got these three characters, that are three badass characters that are very similar. We should bring them together." And then we all was just like, why not? Let's just do it. And it came about like that. And I'm actually really blessed. I've said it a couple times. I'm really blessed to have that happen because not a lot of not a lot of creators can come together and easily just do that. And that's what we did. And we brought Beer and Bullets to life. And it did really well. We got a lot of good reviews on it. People still love it. I sold it actually at that con. People were loving the artwork and loving the story. It Me and Paige are actually working on another crossover called The Bear, where we're bringing
Yeah.
two characters from Beer and Bullets together. This one is actually really being spearheaded by Paige. He is It was actually an idea that a fan came up with, where because like in one of my books, a bear kind of gets killed, and in another book, in Beer and Bullets, Paige's character Pinpoint attacks a bear. So like this guy was like, "What is y'all
Mm.
problem with bears? Y'all need to make a book where like the bear kind of gets revenge." And then so it's not really where the bear gets revenge, but we use a bear in the book, and like it's called the bear, so it's a funny idea that kind of just spawned from a joke. So it's that
Mm.
one is actually coming out later this year, but it was very dope to collaborate, to work with different writers, because we all took a part in writing in the story and telling the story. So it was actually really dope, working with each other and bringing that to life.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just amazing, how much you've been able to do, even like how you've been able to do things creatively. And I think the other thing that's cool that I saw is well, this is gonna be a two-part question
I'm with
because I appreciate, as somebody that's been trying to post more, even with the multiple things that I do and trying to find creative ways to do it.
you.
How do you like keep motivated with everything you have going on? Because not only are you doing have the comic book company, you have your outside life, then on top of that you have the podcast, then on top of that, like how you do the stuff for mental health and comic, like how do you figure out first off, like how you're going to show everything or try to keep a balance or try to stay motivated, because I know it's not easy, but you're doing a lot, and I see the effort that you put in.
So for I'll answer the kind of second part. I'll answer the social media kind of like posting and stuff second. The for the second part that you asked, how do I stay motivated and stuff? First and foremost, I got ADHD. I really can't help it. I'm hyper as hell. I got ADHD. My mind moves a mile a minute all the time. So so that helps. That helps a lot. I'm just like I said, I'm blessed to have that disorder. You feel me? So
Mm,
that helps a lot. But also I'm a real creative person. I'm a real just a go type of do it person. So and a lot of these things kind of, and I'm also impulsive. I see things that I want to do and I kind of just jump into them. And sometimes I
mm,
feel a calling to things like the mental health and stuff like that. So that kind of feel like a calling to that. But to stay motivated, these things I really believe in some of these things. So it's not really hard to be motivated. I love comics. I love creating stories. I love reading stories. I love writing stories. So it doesn't take much to do that. Of course, in my outside life and my family, I love them fools, so it's not hard to be motivated about them. So but yeah, just the different stuff I do is everything I do, I'm really passionate about and I love to do. So I really try not to do things I hate. I used to have a job that I hated, and like
mm,
it really messed up my life mentally and like how I thought about things. So I really don't want to go through that. So anything I do, I would like to do. Even my 9 to 5, even though I hate going to it sometimes, I still love to do it. So because I work in AV, so I still work in audio
okay.
visual, so I still love to do it. So that always keeps me motivated. Is to go into social media, which I don't love as much. You feel me? So which keeps me motivated with social media. If I don't tell this story, if I don't push myself, nobody will. If I don't go on these cameras and talk to them, tell people about 615 Comics, tell people about Thema and the Kickstarter, nobody will. So that keeps me motivated. That keeps me going, and
Mm,
it's 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 really like I you kind of got to at this point for people to see you, people to see your content. You kind of got to talk, and I always tell people that I'm kind of like a extroverted introvert. Like I really want to
mm,
be
mm,
chilling, but I have the ability, I have the capabilities of doing this, of stepping out. It doesn't take nothing for me to do it. I may feel groggy and not want to do it. I
mm,
jump and leap. I'm kind of just in there and going about it. So like I could feel nervous about doing an interview like this or whatever, or hesitant about doing an interview like this. But once we start, I'm just in it. Is you're getting me, I'm in it. It's like it's no going back at that point. So with social media, it's kind of the same thing.
mm.
It's probably my biggest headache as a creator is social media, and it's
Yeah.
probably all of our biggest headaches.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it has to be done. If I'm not going to speak up for myself, then nobody else is going to speak up for me. If I'm not going to make these videos, nobody's going to make them for me. You feel me? So that keeps me consistent on it. That and then I want to put my story out there, so that keeps me consistent on social media, even when it can be a drag.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there's so many things that we've talked about that you have going on with 615 comments. What are some of the goals that you have?
Goals, ooh, goals. I have a lot of goals, but I'm gonna just accumulate this into one big goal. I just want to be a thriving comic book company. I want to tell dope stories. I want to tell dope stories centered around black characters. I want to show us. I want to not just show us in like traumatic experiences, and there's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. But I want to show us to where we are just black and powerful and just who we are. Like it doesn't always have to deal with the BS that we have to deal with everyday life. With for being black, it just kind of shows us in in a comic booky aspect, in aspects that we don't normally see us. And we're saying that I always put this in there that I don't have a beef with stories that tell about our trauma, because those stories need
Hmm.
to be told. But
Hmm.
I think there's still another side of things where we need those stories, but we also need stories where it's a step away from those things. You get what I'm saying? Like we need stuff like Fresh Prince that dealt with real world issues, and we need stuff like Martin that was more like jokey. You feel me? So I want to represent that side where it's kind of the entertainment, where people where black nerds, blurs can go and get a story where it's just kind of the entertainment of it, and it's kind of you can see yourself in this story. So that is my biggest goal. All my goals kind of accumulate to doing that, just being a thriving black comic book company that tells stories. And also, I don't also with saying that, I don't want my stories just for black people. They are mainly for black people, don't get me wrong. They
Mm-hmm.
are for us at the end of the day, but I still want somebody that's white, Asian, whatever you are, Middle Eastern, whatever you are. I want you to be able to read these stories and see a dope story, and then even find things that you might relate to in this story, kind of like how we read Batman, Superman, all we find something to relate. We find something to relate to a white billionaire. You feel me? So I think that other people can find stories and can find stuff to relate to in our stories. So my stories are first and foremost for us, but it's not just for us. They are dope stories that I think anybody could enjoy. So just to accumulate that all in again, it is just I want to tell dope stories. I want to be a thriving comic book company, able to put out comics monthly like DC and Marvel do.
I mean, with the rate you're going, I could see that happening. You just keep pushing, and it could happen. Fingers crossed. The
Yeah.
universe, pinky promise. Whatever other term.
For what they say, what the old people say, we saying from your words to God's ears, from your
Oh
mouth
yeah,
to
yeah.
God's ears.
I think
Yeah,
I think I've heard that. I've heard a lot of different sayings. I think that's one. I think that's one of those.
that's one of them old Southern people be saying.
And the last question I'm going to ask is, how has this journey that you're on, how has it helped you as a person?
Ooh, ooh, okay, okay, damn. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So this is actually something that I've been trying to do in my normal life. To be more open, and I kind of share myself more. In a way, I don't really hide myself. Like when you meet me or see me, you get me. Like
Mhm.
well, for the most part, I try not to say the things that I immediately think because those aren't always the best. But for the most part, you get me. But at the same time, I still try to be more open. Still try to be like with these comics to kind of make an example with these comics. Like when people ask you about your comic, you got to tell them about it. You got to be vocal. What is it about? What they might like? Stuff like that, and compare it to other things. And I'm trying to be like that in normal life, not to be so. Hey Malcolm, how you doing? I'm good. I'm trying not to be
Yeah.
someone like that. Like, yeah, I'm good, but I'm also working on this comic book. I had today was a great day. Blah blah blah. Kind of be more open. Kind of
Mhm.
share more of me, not to keep me so in a way. Kind of share more of me. So that is one thing that comic books have kind of helped me to do is kind of just share Malcolm more, be more open, not just to give you surface level Malcolm or the impulsive Malcolm or whatever that just comes out, but just to kind of give you more of me. And that with social media, this kind of helped a lot because I have to give you more of me. and, and with me putting a lot of my stories and like with questions like you've been asking, which are great questions, I have to tell you about me because that's in the story. So that's how it's helped me in real life. And that was a fire ass question.
I like the reactions. I love the reaction.
Because I wasn't because that I have never been asked like how complicated has helped me in real life. Like that is wild. Like it's a good question. It could go either way too. It could have gone to be like, what comic book creator told me not to trust nobody. You feel me? Like it could have been like that.
Oh, I guess I asked the question because I can't remember if it was asked to me. I've been in a few interviews before I decided that this was my side quest that I was gonna go on. So like they've asked me different questions, but I just think like because some people talk about it in like their anniversary. They talk about like they didn't think that they were going to be doing this, but
Hmm.
like through doing this so I don't know, it just came, it just one day I just started asking the question. So
No, that's a great question. That is a great question, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking about it. So that's any question that can keep you thinking. I like those type of questions.
Yeah, I like those questions too. Even if sometimes you don't want to answer because you don't want to think about that. You don't want to think about your life circumstances, but sometimes you have to.
Right.
Maybe that's the Scorpio in me. I don't know. but but it was a pleasure having you, and I want to give you this chance for people to plug in where you want people to follow you, catch up, read the stories, know more about 615 comics, and you a nerd.
Yeah, so real easy to find me. 615 Comics. My name is right here above my head. 615 Comics. You can find, just go to 615comics .com. The 615 is spelled out, not the numbers. But just go to, yeah, I gotta tell people that sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Because then when you tell people 615, like even me, I would type in 615.
Mm,
You feel me? So
yeah.
like I gotta tell people that it's like spelled out. But just go to the website. That will link you to basically everything I do. All my Kickstarters are on there. Yo a nerd, YOANERD, Yo a nerd. You can find me on Instagram. Oh, yep, right here. As you can see,
Hmm.
you can find me on Instagram, YouTube. That's where YouTube is where I have all my interviews with other indie creators and have them on, and also where I just talk about stuff in the nerd realm. Just kind of give you my 2 cents on things, which nobody cares about my 2 cents, but I give it to you anyway. Yeah, 615comics.com and Yo a Nerd. That's where you can kind of find everything. 615, if you look it up on all social medias, you'll find me. Facebook, Instagram, even on Blue Sky. I don't post much on there, but I'm on there too. So yeah, you can find me on all these. And also, I would like to say thank you for having me on. This has actually been a pleasure. It's actually, I'm not gonna lie to you, this has actually been one of my favorite interviews. Like, not even gassing it up. This has been like fun. Like, I just looked up and saw that we've been on here for like an hour 16. It's actually been a great interview. So I actually want to thank you for having me on, and thank you for the questions.
Oh no, I appreciate it. Sometimes I still get surprised when people tell me that, but thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you for the people that stayed in, commented, supported. I really do appreciate it. So I guess my long story short spiel of what I do. My name is Lizzie. My brand is AnimeInkArt because I do art. I traditionally draw and then digitally edit. We're getting back to that. Life was life, but the brand has expanded, so we're getting back to that.
Oh, that's
But
a slogan. That's a slogan. I like that you spitting bars. I like that the brand is expanding. I like that.
I like your reactions. but
Like,
um but for those that do know and they get to see my art, well, I have the art that I've done. And shout out to Quay because one of my uncolored like original characters like he used for his sip and paint for his Discord, so I do appreciate that. And from there, I've always like wanted to support other creators in the blurred community. So it's like whether you're influencer, comic book creator, the list goes on. So I've always been doing that. It was kind of like sharing people on my page, Anime Ink Art Black Brand Spotlight. But then I met a lot of people. So probably in the past 2 years out of the 5 years that I've been like doing it, I've always supported, but then this became like the extension of it, and that's how I started doing Anime Ink Art Live Talk. So if you want to be part of the show, we have the link in our bio. If you want to know more about like the art, and then I also cosplay, as well. Shout out to Otaku Noir. We were their cosplay model for their my cosplay's Black Calendar. They do amazing mystery boxes for the blurred community. They get different artists and comic book creators and different people in the community to like put cool stuff in these boxes for us. So definitely we're affiliated with them. If you use code AnimeInkArt, you'll get free shipping off your order. We also work for Critical Care Comics. They give out toys and comics to children in the hospital that can't come out. So we do that. So there's regular volunteers, agents. That's what I do, and then heroes. They dress up as Marvel and DC characters. We're trying to get more people for the New York chapter. They have 3 chapters. If you live in Las Vegas, that's the biggest one. South Carolina, and then New York. Whether you want to be with us or with other chapters, just go to www.criticalcarecomics.com or the Instagram page, and you can support them as well. Shout out to Blurs Unite, how we had the opportunity grant from them. Hopefully do more in the future. That helped us with our event that we did last year. And yeah, so whether it's the cosplay, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the art when I get to do it, I mean, I appreciate you because you don't have to be here for, you don't have to be here for the ride of like the multiple things I do, but the fact that you do, I really do appreciate it. And we're gonna have another show on Sunday, so definitely join the broadcast channel on AnimeInkArt 1 and AnimeInkArt Live 1. Instagram's my main platform, though we do have Facebook, which is AnimeInkArt. We don't talk about TikTok, but we have the TikTok if you want to see the old content. But if you want to see the majority of the content, please go to Instagram. But with that, we're going to be signing out. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.